Welcome to the Fishbowl Radio, everybody. My name is Chief here, and joining me today is Jalen. We are doing our Louisiana Ragin Cajun recap against ULM, and where are they going to land at the bowl season here. Also, we're going to keep on trucking through the Louisiana Ragin Cajun men's basketball season with all the dunks, highlights, three-point bombs. You get it all right here on the Fishbowl Radio. Also with Louisiana Ragin Cajun women's basketball. We look ahead to them as they are playing tonight. We'll give you updates on the game right here on the Fishbowl Radio. Without further ado, let me introduce everybody, my co-host, Jalen. How you doing today, Jalen?
I'm doing great, Chief. The Cajuns got bowl eligibility. I'm happy for them. Happy to be here on the podcast. It's always a great day to be a Raging Cajun.
Yes, Louisiana Raging Cajuns beat UOM, yes, Saturday, 52-21. The Cajuns were up very handily at halftime, 35-14. Defense played very well. Offense was fantastic here. Jalen, you were right there on the field. I think we were the only podcast down there on the field actually for the game. So tell us what you saw and what was your reaction down there.
It was fantastic, especially when you're sitting there up close and personal watching from the sideline. I think the biggest takeaway from the game was everybody played well. Special teams, defensively, offensively. The Cajuns went 6 for 6 in the red zone. The only miscue they had was a fumble that was recovered by ULM, and ULM scored. But other than that, the Cajuns stopped the Warhawks on every other possession. It was a blowout in the end. Offensively, it was a great day for Neil Johnson, senior. He had two. Neil Johnson is a senior, I should say. This is his last game at Cajun Field. He had 2 touchdowns, which is a career high for him. Never had a 2 touchdown game in his career, and it's just a great way to go out as a Cajun. And Chandler Fields also played great too. He had one of the best games I've seen him play since he's been here. So overall, I'm proud of the Cajuns. I'm proud of Coach Des, and I can't wait to see them play in a bowl game.
So I'm glad you brought up bowl game here because that's something else we need to look at here. So ULM's not going bowling. They fired their head coach Terry Bowden after he had been there for a couple of seasons here, and it looked like they were wanting to go into, right. Look like they want to try to right the ship somewhere there, but I think ULM should be in FCS. I don't think they have the budget to compete at the FBS level, but that's a whole another conversation for a different day. But as far as offensive line play, I think the Cajuns played very well, blocked very well. They were able to control the line of scrimmage and be able to give Chandler Fields enough time to get the ball to his playmakers. They are also established a running game, which they had a very good balanced offensive attack. I think that's what really helped the Cajuns in that game against ULM. So what they were able to do was, spread the ball around to different people. Peter LeBlanc had a good game. Like everybody was clicking on all cylinders, and that's what you want to see for the Cajuns here. Now, I think the upcoming question is they took care of business against ULM. Now looking ahead to the future, what bowl games will the Cajuns end up go to here? So for one, I saw the Cajuns might be going to the Armed Forces Bowl to face Iowa State wasn't one of them that popped up. And Cajuns are very familiar with Iowa State. If you want to look that up, just go look up 2020, the opening game, and you'll see what we are talking about here. So Cal was another one that was mentioned as well in the First Responder Bowl. Cal versus Louisiana, that was one as well. There was 4 or 5 different sites. Does anybody really know about what's going on, what kind of bowl reps were at the game? That's They all kind of check out. And they all kind of get picking order. Now the Cajuns might actually end up getting one of the best, maybe one of the best like bowls of the season. If you look at quality of matchup and opponent, would be a Power 5 school, which there wasn't enough 6-win teams to fill out of the bowl uh games for the Power 5 conferences, so they get 6-win teams, which helps the Cajuns and the rest of the Sun Belt because they have 12 bowl eligible teams, which they all will go bowling. So it's going to be one to know what's going on here. So that is something to look at here. And I, like I said before, if looking back at the season, there were some highs and some lows. I think the lowest part of the season was this past 3-game stretch here. Whenever we were leaving South Alabama, it looked like the Cajuns were going to be possibly competing for a Sun Belt West title against Troy. It looked like we were going to beat Arkansas State and set us ourselves up to it, getting back to where the Sun Belt championship game, and it just wasn't meant to be. And like I said before, I said it every episode. I say it again. I do think that we did underachieve this year. I think 8-4 should have been the record the Cajuns got this year, but I am happy to have an extra game and finish with a winning record. Now, Dez did finish 6-7 last year. I think he's got to win. I think this bowl game is imperative. I think he has to win. I think he's got to literally has to win the bowl game to help recruiting among all the other intangibles that come with that to get the Cajuns back where they need to be, like to strive the program forward. If he doesn't do it, it's just going to look like we're a stagnant program. Like I think having us, the difference this year between having a 7-6 record and a 6-7 record is big to me because one's a winning record and one's a losing record, and you want to flip that around if you're going to go the other way around. So 6-7, 7-6 sounds a lot better than 6-7. So what you think, Jalen? Is this a must-win bowl game for Dez?
Oh yeah, I think this is a must-win bowl game for Dez. And I mean, like you said, going into the second year, and last year you finished 6-7, losing in the bowl game to last year. I think this year you can't be stagnant. You have to win the bowl game, and it's. I mean, he did his part by helping the team to beat ULM and get into the bowl game. But now I think you have to win because going into year three, you're known as the first 2 years of your head coaching career. You lost the bowl game, and nobody wants to see go out there support the Cajuns and watch them lose a bowl game every year. So yeah, I think it is. I think it really is a must win for the Cajuns. I hope they do.
So the part of the bowl games that's coming up, the first responder bowl was one that I looked at here. Like I'm thinking of one that's closest to the Cajuns, right? You got the New Orleans Bowl, that's usually reserved for the Sun Belt champion. That was one that I'm going to look at all of them and see what they actually have here. Uh, they
You know what
got
other
one in
bowls I saw, Chief?
what other ones you got? I know
Uh,
on.com had some that was I think they had the let's see. I'm trying to see what there were other ones here because the first responder bowl is it looks like it's like they're gonna factor in geography and they're gonna factor in the ability to sell tickets to the closest game. Lending Tree Bowl might be one of them too, but I think it might go take Troy. What you had anyway, Jalen?
Cause I saw some sites had them playing in the New Mexico Bowl against Air Force. I thought that was kind of
Yeah,
interesting.
that yeah, Brett McMurphy's the one who had reported that where he had has Aslan Sports has the Cajuns taking on San Jose State. So no one knows it. It's like it's basically like turn off the lights in this room and me putting a dartboard and me just throwing it just to see because we don't know which ones are going there, like which bowl reps was at which games. That wasn't something that I saw or anything. So we'll see what happens here. And look, Chandler Fields, he got a Davey O'Brien grade 8 honor as well. That was a big um accomplishment for him. So we'll see what happens and we'll just see where how it goes here. So based on what everything's going, Fox Sports reporting the Birmingham Bowl versus Syracuse. That's one that came across the wire as well. That was crazy. So because nobody really knows, like Alabama all the way to New Mexico, like it could be any of those states. So I remember last year where we were the only podcast that went to the Independence Bowl for the Cajuns, and very cold temps. That was a great experience there. We were there when the Cajuns took on Houston. Cajuns had a good chance to win that game. Came up a little bit short, and man, dude, we froze our butts off that game. Like I had three layers and I was still cold. Like toward like that fourth quarter was just brutally cold. I think the index temp was like 8 degrees. So that was some brutal conditions to be in. But we'll see what happens there with all that. So Jalen, what you think about Like, what, like, who, where do you think the Cajuns end up at? If I guess you have to pick. If I had to make a guess myself, I don't think they're not gonna put us in the Independence Bowl again. I'm thinking they might actually have us in. I'm thinking either Dallas or Mobile somewhere. I think that would be the most logical case. What do you think, Jalen?
I think the New Mexico Bowl is interesting, but I kind of agree with you. What is that? First responder that's in Dallas.
Yeah, that's in
Uh,
Arlington.
I really like that one. I think looking at the geographics of it, Dallas is right there, and I think it would be a good matchup for whoever we play, and most likely be a Power Five school. So I actually think that might be the bowl that Cajuns get picked to.
Yeah, it'll be a very nice one to go to. I've been in that area before. It's very nice. There's not really like it's more business savvy. There's still some stuff to do in Dallas, but it's like more business wise. Like the Lending Tree Bowl is one that could possibly be one maybe, but it's all it's the tie-ins and who's gonna be where. So I don't think the Cajuns finished kind of in the middle, so it's gonna be kind of like wondering how far out those tie-ins go, like Sunbelt 1, Sunbelt 2, the kind of seating they would use in between both
Hey,
and see. But
I want to say also too though, shout out to the Sun Belt because I think I was looking at it earlier.
yeah, the
Sun Belt
most
had the
bowl
most
bids.
teams made it to a bowl game. And shout out James Madison. They get to go to a bowl game. They deserved it. I'm happy for them also.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, dude, that's an accomplishment. 12. There's a lot of parity in the Sun Belt, and I think we saw that this year. There's a lot of parity amongst these teams, and like the Sun Belt's very competitive. So it's crazy to see what has happened and transpired so far in regards to that. So let's look ahead here to Louisiana Ragin Cajun men's basketball. They they've there are live RPI right now. I like talking about RPI because it's interesting to keep track of. I know every episode we kind of go over it a little bit to kind of see. Right now, I tell you all this every week. Don't look at it right now. It's an ugly number because it's gonna be high or low depending how many games you have. Right now, the Cajuns are at 267 RPI rank, and their record so far this year, the Cajuns have won 4 games, and they're 4-2 so far. Their 2 losses go to Wright State and Toledo. The Cajuns beat Long Beach State and Buffalo, so they're going to be playing tonight as well against Loyola in New Orleans. They'll be at the Cajun Dome. It will be tipping off right about 4 minutes from now. So that is something to look at here. So um, the Cajuns here looking like I think they'll pick up the win tonight. I don't think it'll be much competition for them. Seamus Folk is definitely playing more of the role of scorer this year for the Cajuns. He's done a good job the last 2 games here as well. Um, being able to pick up the pieces there and be a good point guard. The Cajuns beat a 4-4 Long Beach State team. Buffalo so far is 0-5 on the year so far. The Cajuns' next game is the 30th against Sanford. They're 4-2 so far this year. Then they got a tough matchup on Saturday on the 9th as they take on Louisiana Tech here, which their RPI is sky high at 27. So, like, that's what I mean. This RPI stuff's real high. I like to mention to kind of give you an idea. It's going to fluctuate. Once you get like 20 games under your belt, you really get a good idea about how good your team is and how it relates to that. Like the quadrant 1, quadrant 2, and quadrant 3 records really show. Right now, the Cajuns haven't even played a quadrant 2 game yet in regards to RPI. So that stuff's like fluctuating right now. So the Cajuns their road streak so far, they lost the last 4 games. So that we're technically on the road or actually an away game. Not because the game against Buffalo and Long Beach State, it was in Florida, but it was part of the Gulf Coast showcase. So Karen Crow, Joe, and the boys have been taking care of business. Jalen, what you thought so far about the Gulf Coast showcase and how the Cajuns were able to win 2 out of 3 in the showcase? What you thinking?
Hey, I think everybody loves Karen Crow Joe, but I think the Cajuns played great. I mean, picking up 2 out of 3 wins, back to back wins against Buffalo. won by 8, and then against Long Beach State they won by 10. And I think the thing is with the Cajuns, and I think I said this like earlier when the season first started. I feel like every game is a different score. Like this game, Kentrell Garnett had 20 points, but also Blake Butler, a new Raging Cajun player itself, had 20 points off the bench. I think every time the Cajuns play, it's somebody different leading and scoring, which means they're sharing the ball, they're starting to shoot the ball well. It's still a little bit kind of missing that inside presence, but right now, Chief, I think the Cajuns are playing great. They need to keep this momentum going. And in about what a couple minutes, they're going to be playing against Loyola, a home game for them. They're undefeated so far, 2-0. I think the Cajuns are doing good. And like you said, this year is a different theme as folks. He's a scorer this year more than an assist guy, and I like it. I think he put his he changed his play for the team for them to be able to make another run in the Sun Belt and make it to an NCAA tournament. And I'm all here for it.
Yeah, Theme has definitely upgraded. He's in double digits for the year so far. Like as points per game goes about here, he's scoring about 12.2 points a game. But the leading scorer is Kobe Julian so far with 18 and a half points here. So look, I mean, if you look at the way this is going so far, it is what it is. Karen Crow Joe also 14.2 himself. Kentrell Garnett at 11.7 points per game. So they are putting in significant time. The player that's been playing the most minutes so far per game is Karen Crojo at 30.9. So I think if you look at like percentages and stuff so far on the year, the best 3-point shooter, if you're looking at averages and percentages, is Kyron Ratliff. He's at 692. Now, granted, um, he's not really scoring that many points in a game. He's only scoring 3.3 points in a game. So he's like definitely coming off the bench and doing what he has to do here. So with the season statistics here, because he's only got so far a 692 field goal, not 3 point shot. I was reading the wrong thing. So he's definitely on the like in-house of on the floor and 2 point line. So, but as far as the starters go, if you look at the guys that are starters, the highest starter right now that's making the most buckets and getting in like percentage wise for the Cajuns here, as far as the starters go, is by the numbers Karen Crow Joe because he's at 448. I was trying to look and see Kendrick Garnett 439 from 2 point land. It's definitely Karen Crow Joe. From 3 point land, it's it looks like it's yeah, it looks like it is Karen Crow Joe. He don't take as many shots as the other ones because all he takes. So far this year he's had 299 attempts. Demas Folks had 316. Kentrell Garnett had 413. So he's obviously getting the ball a lot more and shooting more, and Kobe Julian as well at 556 attempts on the year. He's made 234 of them per point 421. So but I noticed with the Cajuns as a team, they look like they let me see. Let's go pull up some team stats here. So if you look at like box score and stuff and 3 point shooting so far, the Cages on the season from 3 point land, they're shooting about 39.3% for the year. From the 2 point line in the field goal range, they're shooting about 47.5%. Opponents are shooting 47.8%. So the big difference with them, the opponents ain't hitting three balls much. So the Cajuns really need to find a way to start scoring more in the field goal range to really start putting pressure on opponents so that they work inside, outside. But if the Cajuns keep shooting outside, 3 point out in 3 point land, that's gonna open up that inside at some point where they can start working it in there. But if the three ball is not falling for them, it's not gonna look too good. So I think if the Cajuns keep doing that, they'll be fine. But if they can't make the 3 point shots, like stay on that pace they are right now because they're making like 39.3% of 3-point shots. So it's just gonna depend on that there. But they have to get an inside presence, I think, to repeat as Sun Belt champions. But that's something we'll have to see if they can develop that later on as they get more experience down below and seeing what actually happens there. So Jalen, what you think?
I think the Cajuns are in great shape. Kobe Julian, as you mentioned, he's been a bucket getter since his days at high school at Madison Prep. I think he's the go-to guy when you need somebody to score down the stretch, put the ball in his hands, he can make a play. And like you said, I think him and Karen Crow they're the two go-to guys. Themis Falk starting to shoot the ball more. Kentrell Garnett can shoot. They have somebody that can put the ball in the basket. And like you said, if they start making more threes, that'll open up the inside for some of these big guys to take the ball in and get easy buckets too. I think down the stretch, especially when we get to the end of non-conference play, heading into Sun Belt play, we'll see how the Cajuns match up against some of these Sun Belt teams who have these tall guys that you have to guard. And I think the Cajuns, yeah, they play a little bit smaller than they have in the past, but small ball can help you win games too. It's all about matchups and who you play.
Yep. So let's start predicting these upcoming games for the Raging Cajun men's basketball here. So they got Loyola tonight. Iola. I got them winning this game. I think they'll beat Sanford as well. I got them winning their next two, on to playing Louisiana Tech. Who you got, Jalen, for those next two games?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cajuns in their next two. I think they're gonna beat Loyola. This is a game actually is going on right now, and I think they're gonna go on the road and beat Sanford.
So to give y'all an update of what actually happened tonight, or give y'all a live score update, because that's what we do here. We constantly try to update information on our social media pages and give y'all the most up to date. Where's my thing? They have a little score thing somewhere. Let's watch this and let's see. That's not what I want. It's the wrong thing. I hit the wrong button, of course.
It happens.
Yeah, it does happen. Game info. Live stats. All right, cool. So right now, at the timing of this recording right now, this episode has the score right now. It just tipped off. Loyola is winning 2-0. I do think Louisiana will come back. So far the Cajun shot. Okay, now it's 4-0. It just updated. So let's go switch gears to Louisiana Ragin Cajun women's basketball though. So we'll give you a score updates as we keep going on here because that's very important here. So Louisiana Ragin Cajun women's basketball did take on Loyola New Orleans tonight here. They are coming off of a win against Xavier and Nichols. They won both those games here. Their last loss came to Kent State. They played Auburn tough earlier this year. Right now they're currently 3-2 overall. But like I said, let's talk about RPI so far. And if you're just wanting to skip over to the part to watch the women, is at 237 RPI. Now, granted, it's all inflated right now. You're not going to get much information in regards to doing all that stuff. So it's like, I like mentioning it, like I said before, just to kind of give you an idea of how crazy these things are in the beginning. Like I said, they'll average out about after 20 games being played, and you'll see what's actually going on. So the Cajuns are currently 3-2, 4-2 actually on the year. Why if they need to update their website because they have 2-2. So I hate to put you all on blast here, but they don't have their numbers picked up. I'll give them an excuse. They ate too much turkey. So they beat Loyola tonight 76-47. So we'll see here. I don't think they even check attendance anymore. Did they even I don't know if they even updated this at all. So yeah, like there's no there's just a Scoring card, it looks like. Yeah, this is definitely a scoring card. So they don't have the stats for the game up next. So um it's just a roster card. They did win tonight. They don't have any stats right now available for that, but that's fine. That's okay. They scored more than the other team. That's why they won the game, right?
No, no, exactly. That blowout is enough in itself. We don't need
Yeah,
the
so yeah,
scorecard.
they obviously shot better from the 2 point line for sure. Maybe field goal free throws were really good there, but so they take on UNO and then they go on the road, take on at number 7 LSU on Sunday on December 10th. So I think they'll beat New Orleans. LSU, I'll make my pick for that one next week. It's gonna be a good game. I'm kind of tempted to actually go to it, honestly, and just kind of like look at it because the Pete Maravich Center will be a really cool arena. I've been there before. Um, Very nice. They're gonna do some renovations to it, so it's gonna be a really nice crowd over there probably, and we'll just see what happens. But I think the Cajuns do take it against UNO. Who you got, Jalen?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cajuns. Also, they're on a bit of a win streak going on now. Last loss, like you said, was against Kent State. I mean, three straight wins against Nichols, Xavier, and Loyola. Three straight Louisiana schools. I mean, they just blew out Loyola. I mean, I think the Cajuns are playing great so far. They got to keep this going. I think they'll go to New Orleans and on Saturday and get the win. And then I think the toughest game of the season would be on December 10th against LSU. And I think that at the Pete Maravich Assembly Center, I think that'll be a big test for the women's team. And they just got to keep it rolling. I think they're playing great.
Yeah. So right now, to give y'all an update of what's going on with the men's game, it's 6-4. Loyola does lead. It's a media timeout right now. Um, Butler just turned the ball over. That was the most recent one, and they got a timeout here. Yeah, Demas Fox made a 3-pointer at 16:26 to go. So right now, they gotta get that three ball going. They're hitting around their average right now. Uh, for the year, the two ball is not falling right now. They're only shooting 13% from the floor. So that's something that's got to improve over the course of this game. But they'll probably wake up. I do think they will be Loyola. So, Jalen, you think we got everything covered here today?
I think we got everything covered. I'm happy that basketball season is back, men's and women's games. You tune in, and I can't wait to see the selection show to see where the Cajuns football team is going. So it's gonna be great for Cajun Nation.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. Thank y'all for tuning into the Fishbowl Radio. I hope you have a great and wonderful week here. I hope you all enjoyed y'all Thanksgiving weekend with your families. And if you don't have your family, they'll always be there with you. So thank you for tuning in. Hope you have a great and wonderful day. We'll see you all next time here at the Fishbowl Radio.